but it's good news.
Absolutely, and they played the way that they normally play towards the end of the game there. I think both teams were a little bit nervous coming out, shooting about 37% in the first half, but they came out in the second half, they were confident, they made big shots, and they played some defense.
Yeah, from our view, high, really high in the nosebleed section above the floor here at the First Union Center. Even in pregame warm-ups, I think the team was pretty jittery. They weren't finding the basket very much, and it showed. They missed several easy layups early in the first half, and for the first time this season, really, you saw the mighty UConn Huskies a little bit rattled.
Well, I think that's a true sign that none of them have been here before. People forget that because they've had so much success, but not one of their players have been to the Final Four. So they were not just excited to get here. They definitely want to win it all, but they know it's not going to be two easy games like they've had earlier in the season, that they're really going to have to get out there and play. So a little bit of added pressure there this weekend.
From one point guard to another, we talked about it before we went on, so folks, and Sue Bird, I tell you what, she is one heck of a player. At the time we left, she had 5 three-pointers in the game and 19 points, but first half, she really got the offense started.
Well, she definitely didn't play like she's never been here before. She just stepped out there, she led that team, and that's what she's been doing all year, and everybody's been talking about that's what they were missing last year, and she's shown them how much better a team that they can be with a true leader out there, a true point guard that can make things happen.
Now let me look at my notes here. I took it down. 15:58 of the first half, Tamika Williams, Asia Jones come in, and since that point, or from that point, UConn goes on a 12-4 run to turn really a 6-6 game into an 18-10 game, and they do it again.
Well, it's like I was saying, you almost I think they bring their two best post players off the bench. You know, they start Swin and Shuey, who are both tough post players, but then they bring their more talented scorers off the bench. And when you're a team that has their best players on the floor and they're playing hard for 4 minutes, and all of a sudden they bring two better players in off the bench, it's tough mentally and physically, and I think Asia and Tamika both gave them a huge lift tonight.
All right, second half, of course, they pull away and win it going away, and you get the dream matchup, a nightmare if you're on one side or another, I guess. If you think about Tennessee, that's kind of nightmarish, but it brought out the best in you during your playing days, and I'm sure they're going to bring out the best in each other.
Yeah, well, it's 5 years ago that we played against Tennessee in the championship game, and I think everybody's been waiting for that matchup for 5 years, so we finally have it, folks, and we're excited. We can't wait for Sunday.
And there's going to be a lot more from here at the First Union Center in Philadelphia. Both teams right now getting ready to make some post-game comments. Joe Tessitore, as soon as we get them, we will pass along to you the words from Coach Oriaman and the rest of the victorious UConn players from here in Philadelphia. Right now, let's go back to you in the studio.
Hey, Eric, I'm sorry to hear about your bad seats up in the nosebleed section. I know, Jen, you had pretty good seats, though, Jen, didn't you? Yeah, you know, you made national TV with those good seats.
Well, I'm a former player. You think I'm a former player. I should be able to get a couple good seats now and then.
I think so.
Does it count? Does it count if you've worked for networks in the past and stuff? I guess not. I mean, I was way up there. I got a bloody handkerchief in my pocket. I had the nosebleed stuff going. Oh, it was just fantastic. It's wonderful here.
Maybe Coach Rizzotti can help you out come Sunday, Eric. Hey, we're going to catch up with you guys.
See what I can do on Sunday.
We're going to catch up with you guys in just a little bit, but first off, let's get right to the highlights and show you how UConn did advance to the national championship game. And we start off with the first half of action. And UConn early on, the fast break, Sue Bird to Abrosimova. It was 2-zip. Penn State did answer. Lisa Shepard, 3-ball, got it. We got a 6-6 game from Philly. Svetlana Abrosimova had some nice passes tonight. This was one of them. Tamika Williams in for the score. Then Tamika, in what was one of the better sequences of the game, plays great defense, the steal to Sue Bird. Thinks about it, lines up the long ball, 15-8, all of a sudden a 7-point cushion, more from Bird. Trifecta, 18-10. Then Svetlana Abrosimova, the steal, little coast-to-coast action. It was 22-14. Penn State, though, they were sticking around. Katrina Carr, 22-17, but Sue Bird had her game working. Kicks it out, got it. 25-17, UConn on top. When Penn State came out to defend, UConn went inside. Kelly Schumacher, 29-22. Then Kenitra Johnson comes off the bench with this gem. 33-25 before the half. How about the fast-breaking Huskies? Here they come. Sue Bird, Asia Jones, easy lay-in, 37-25, and at the half, UConn took a 37-28 lead. We have much more of this special edition of March Magic when we come back. Live from Philly, and the post-game reaction to UConn advancing to the national championship. Stay with us, folks.
For more scores, stats, and brackets, log on to the Channel 3 website, WFSB.com. March Magic will be right back. When you can't watch the news, you can still get all the information you need from Connecticut's most watched newscast by clicking on to WFSB.com, the only online source for Doppler 3000, the most powerful weather radar in Connecticut. Plus, count on WFSB.com for up-to-the-minute news coverage. WFSB.com, your 24-hour news source from the station you know and trust. Channel 3 Eyewitness News, Connecticut's news station. March Magic on Channel 3 is brought to you by Connecticut Toyota Dealers, Connecticut Light and Power, New England Jeep Dealers, Savings Bank of Manchester, New England Dodge Dealers, and by the Connecticut Lottery.
You are looking live at the First Union Center in South Philadelphia, where a sold-out crowd is filing out after watching UConn and Tennessee advance to the national championship game. Your final score, 89-67. Sue Bird with an unbelievable effort tonight. 5 3-pointers, no turnovers as the UConn women top Penn State. Well, we showed you the first half. Let's get right to the second half highlights. And early on in the second half, Penn State came out firing. UConn had themselves a halftime lead, but Penn State wanted to chip away right from the start. Lisa Shepard lines it up. Penn State cuts it to 41-37. Sue Bird would answer, though. Every single time, it was all about Bird. 44-37. Rashana Barnes for Penn State. The jumper. 48-44. But guess who? Sue Bird once again. 3-pointer, UConn by 7. Nice play here off the inbound pass. Watch Asia Jones. Instant score for the Huskies. Then Asia Jones working the glass. Tamika Williams the miss. Jones, great effort inside tonight. 55-48. Penn State would again cut it to 4, but Shea Ralph, her first points of the game, made it 60-53. Then UConn started with a great passing, little back cut there, 62-53. Then the big play of the game, touch pass, Svet to Swin, double-digit lead. It would just get worse for Penn State. How about Svet going through the lane? Gino would say, why not? Bring it on. Here she is. UConn milking that double-digit lead. Swin Cash all the way to the hole, 69-57. And to cap it all off, Kenitra Johnson. Good defense becomes even better offense. UConn up by 16 at this point. They would just roll with this thing, 89-67. Let's go now live to Gino Auriemma, who is standing by at the First Union Center.
I thought the game went the way I thought it would go because, Penn State is a very difficult team to prepare for because they run so many good sets and they do a very good job of getting the shot that they want to get. But I felt that if we could get the game going a little bit quicker than they wanted to and isolate their post one-on-one, and if our post players came to play, that we would be okay. And we didn't get a great game out of Svet or Shea, and it shows you the depth of our team and the quality of our depth, that without 2 of our best players, we still managed to play a really, really good game, and we're happy going into Sunday night and looking forward to playing in the game.
Questions for the student athletes on the aisle.
Question for Shea. When they made their run, you guys seemed to be able to respond with a big basket. Talk about your ability of your team to come up big time and again.
Yeah, I thought that we did a great job. We've always said when somebody punches us, we have to punch back. And I thought tonight we did a wonderful job of that. Sue Bird headed it up. She did a great job running our offense. And it seemed like every time, they came down and got a shot on that run, she came down and made something happen on the other end. So we were real proud of her. And our post players, I thought they did a great job rebounding and sticking it back up.
Go ahead, sir, for the student athletes.
Shea and Svetlana, obviously I think you all would have been ready. You would have played anyone tomorrow or on Sunday, but now that it is UConn and Tennessee, is this really the dream matchup?
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I think that everybody's been waiting for this game. I think that if you ask anybody who watches women's basketball, they probably would have said or put down in their bracket that UConn and Tennessee would meet in the final game. So I think that it's definitely fate. It's going to be a big battle, but we've prepared, we've worked hard, and we're ready for it.
For the student athletes, questions on the aisle here.
You kept Helen Darling scoreless in this game. How did you do it?
Neither of them can answer that because neither of them had anything to do with it. Is that why you guys just...
That is not true. That's not true. I didn't play defense against her. I played defense against her for a little bit at the end. I think Helen Darling really wasn't looking to score that much is what I noticed when I played defense on her. I think they were looking to get more three-point shots, and really we got a lot of help from our post players. They were setting a lot of screens on her, and we were trying to turn her as much as we could and make sure that she didn't get inside into the lane. And I thought for the most part we did a great job of that.
For the student athletes, questions in the back. Yes, sir.
Shea, two questions. One, you hadn't scored a lot today, but yet when the game was only 4 points, 11 minutes to play, you hit a big three-pointer. Can you just talk about your confidence in taking that shot? And then talk about Sue Bird a little bit. I mean, everybody's said this point guard is great, that point guard is great all year long, and she seemed to come up big today.
Right. Well, the first question you had, I wasn't really clicking offensively today, but that three was wide open, and if I didn't hit that, then I don't deserve to be on the floor. So I needed to make that three. We worked on that shot every day in practice, and I had confidence in it. Sue Bird, there's not enough that I can say about her. She does not get enough recognition. She has been the MVP of our team this year. She has gelled us together and taken us for a wild ride in this tournament. And every time that we need somebody to step up, it seems like she steps up and takes our team to where we want to go. So I am so proud of her, being only a sophomore and also going through a very tough knee injury. I think that she's come back better than I've expected and better than a lot of other people expected. And she's just a great, great player. She knows how to play the game.
For the student athletes.
For both players, you've played Tennessee twice this year. What did you learn from those games that you think will benefit you Sunday night?
Tennessee is the only one team who beat us this year, so we kind of equal this time because we won at their place and they beat us in our place. We know that they're a great team, they have great players, but I think the first time we played against them, we showed that we're a great team too. But the second time, their best players hit a couple, really important shots at the end. So I think it's going to come out to who's going to have a better team, and as Shea said, it's going to be a big battle tomorrow.
Okay, anything to add to that? Next question for the student athletes. I'll take a couple more quickly, if there are any. On the side over here. Okay.
For the players, you think if Sue had been healthy last year, you might have, in the Final Four of the championship games, getting beat in the regional?
Who's to say about that? There's a lot of things that can happen. I think maybe that was what it was meant to be. I think, there's a lot that you learn from an experience like that, and who knows if she would be as good as she is if she hadn't gone through that and, had to face tougher times than she's faced, in her life. So, you can't look in the past and say, what if this, what if that, because there's nothing you can do to change about it. So I'm just happy that she's on the floor with us now and that we're playing in the final game with her, in the backcourt leading us.
in deference to...
All right, folks, that was the live post-game reaction from the First Union Center following UConn's 89-67 win over Penn State to advance to the national championship game where they will face Tennessee. Let's go back now live to Clemons and Jenn Rizzotti. And guys, you were just listening to the post-game reaction. Shea Ralph says, when somebody punches us, we punch back. And tonight was a real good example of that.
Definitely a good example, especially early on in the second half, Joe. It's a 37-25 game before Garner hits a key three-pointer to end the first half, kind of like that Tennessee game at Gamble Pavilion where I believe it was Catchings hit a three-pointer from the corner and they had a little momentum. Then they start the second half and go on a 12-7 run and really make it a 44-40 game, and that was a punch if I ever saw one, but yes. UConn was able to weather the storm.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, the questions in the past couple of years have always been about their mental toughness. And they've never been able to get to the Final Four because they didn't have it in the big game when the other team threw a punch. And this year they have proven time and time again that they have that mental toughness. And it's not just one player or two players, but it's the whole entire team. They feed off of each other defensively and offensively. And when somebody punches, they definitely stick up for each other and they fight back.
They certainly do fight back. And I tell you what, when two of the best players in all of college basketball, Svetlana Brosimova, Shea Ralph, don't have good games, and you still win by more than 20, that is something else. Gino Auriemma back at the podium right now fielding some more questions. Let's go to him live.
About the two teams that played in the first game, there's a lot of ice being spread around that locker room too. I guarantee you that.
On the side, gentleman by the curtain.
Gino, as much success as this program has had, it's been since '95, and it took taking you this long to get back to a championship game. Does that just emphasize how precious these opportunities are and how difficult they are to come by?
Yeah, they are. I mean, you know, I was saying to Pat Summitt the other day, you know, years like last year when, you know, they have the best team and they don't get here, I think God does that to you to make you appreciate the years you do get there even more. You know, we came here 2 years in a row, won one, lost one, and then another time we had the best team in the country, I thought, and an injury kept us out of it. One little thing can go wrong and you don't make it. I don't care how good your team is. You know, you need a little bit of luck, good fortune smiles on you, ball bounced the right way. And, you know, being good is not good enough. So the fact that we're good enough and fortunate enough to be here, yeah, I think we cherish this as much as anything, no question about it.
Got a question right here, gentleman with his hand raised.
Coach, you mentioned Asia Jones had a great game tonight, and there's some games she doesn't play a lot, and other games she plays a lot and has a great game. What is it, just inconsistent play?
Yeah, you know, the only person in America that can defend Asia Jones is Asia Jones. You know, she has a tendency sometimes to think too much about what do I want to do or analyze things too much. She's very bright. I tell people back home and our reporters, she's the brightest kid on our team, in school and everything. She's got everything together. That's good and bad. You know, she sees both sides of everything, and I only want her to see one side, you know. And when she's just playing without thinking, you saw tonight. I mean, she's the new wave of women's basketball players, you know, inside, outside, right hand, left hand. Let's hope she's got another one in her Sunday night, huh?
I've got time for two more. Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Given the fact that you shut down a star player on the other side, how good was your defense?
Well, we were talking about it on the bench. Our defense at times was lousy. I mean, they got more open shots tonight than I would really, really like. And at times our defense was really, really good. But our defense on Helen Darling was good all night. I thought we did a good job. And KJ and Sue and Shea and Svet, we kept rotating people on her, so give her a different look. I thought, honest to God, I thought the key in the game was when we took KJ and Sue off of Helen Darling and put our two quickest players on Falcone and Shepard, because it made it very, very difficult for them to lose them. Svet and Shea, you know, they're easy to lose because they're not as, well, Shea's not as quick, and Svet likes to wander. So the other two guys, you know, I thought that was the difference in the last 7 or 8 minutes.
Last question, gentleman right there. Go ahead, take the microphone.
Coach, could you comment on Sue Bird's performance, please?
I don't know what to say. You know, Sue Bird hasn't gotten any awards this year. Nobody thinks of her as the best point guard in the country, or she didn't even make first team All-League. You know, I hear a lot of people talking about a lot of point guards in our league, around the country. Anybody who's watched us play, anybody who's watched Sue play, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't take any other point guard playing out there right now in America ahead of Sue Bird. That's how good she is. She's played only about 40-some games, and without her, there's no way that we'd be here. This kid's got a lot of guts.
Coach, thank you very much. That'll conclude the Connecticut press conference. Again, they will be in here tomorrow at 2. We encourage you to come back if you'll join.
That is it, folks. Gino Auriemma, live from Philadelphia. You just saw it right here live on Channel 3 special edition of March Magic, his entire press conference following UConn's 89-67 win over Penn State. We have much more March Magic when we come back. We will have a visit with Eric Clemons and Jenn Rizzotti live from Philly. Stay with us. There it is, folks, the city of brotherly love, where Sunday night the national title will be determined between UConn and Tennessee. It doesn't get better than that. Your final score tonight from the national semifinals of the NCAA tournament: UConn 89-67, Sue Bird 19 points, 5 assists, no turnovers, 5 3-pointers. You know how UConn got there. We've been talking about it for quite some time now and listening to Gino and Svet and Shea. As for Tennessee, they had a tough game against a Big East opponent we're all very familiar with. Rutgers taking on Tennessee, and Pat Summitt ready to see the Vols go for history again. Kristen Clement. Tennessee up 3-zip to start the game. Clement had the stroke working. Long balls. How about 10-5 Vols? But the Tennessee turnover started to kill them. Rutgers on the break. Tasha Pointer. 12-10 game. Here comes Rutgers. Rutgers, in fact, would take the lead. Usha Gilmore, 17-16. Then the Knights on the break. Gilmore finishes an 8-0 Rutgers run. It was 21-16 Knights. Tennessee comes back. Carl Lawson. Volunteers up 25-23. An 8-0 run for Tennessee. Tamika Catchings. 28-26 Tennessee at the break. Second half action. Rutgers starting to move the ball. Shawnetta Stewart. 32-30. Can you smell upset? Rutgers thinking about it. Kristen Clement to Michelle Snow. Great pass. Tennessee up 4. Then they start to pull away. Catchings. A 9-2 run. They were up 5. Catchings again. Great move here. 47-39 Volunteers. Michelle Snow, this is a name to remember for a tough matchup for UConn Sunday night. 49-39. Now, with just over a minute to go, Linda Miles, Rutgers cut it to 6 with less than a minute to go, but look at this, right back at you. Samika Randall, down court for Tennessee, and on the scoreboard, Tennessee holds on for a 64-54 win. And Eric Clemons and Jenn Rizzotti in Philadelphia, you guys know, this is what it's all about. UConn and Tennessee for the national championship. We didn't even need the 64 teams. Could have cut right to the chase. They played 2 great games earlier this year. Here we go again Sunday night.
Here we go again, and as Howard Cosell would say, right there, they're going to be playing for the national championship. Jen and I have been talking about it out here. Jen, long history between these two teams. What do you think about Sunday's matchup?
Well, it's not going to be the first time they've played, and yes, it is the only team to beat UConn this year, but I really believe that UConn's playing some of its best basketball right now, and I've watched Tennessee over the last couple games, and they just don't seem to be on the top of their game, and I just think if UConn plays this team basketball and they go out there and they play like they did tonight and they have, people stepping up at every position, there's no chance Tennessee's going to beat them.
Tennessee tonight had to rely on Kara Lawson in the second half. She scored, I believe, 14 of her 19 points in the second half of the game, really carried them in the second half, and if not for her, they might have been in a lot of trouble. Rutgers also didn't have any offense tonight. What's going to be the key?
Well, I think Tennessee's similar to UConn in that they do have many players that can step up and carry the team. They have Tamika Catchings, you know, they have Samika Randall, and they have Kara Lawson, who's another brilliant point guard. So I think the key is they got to contain Tamika Catchings a lot better than they did the last time they played her. And they just need to play tough, solid defense. Tonight, you know, they lost their focus a little bit in the half-court defense. I think they need to clamp down. They need to box out. If they keep Tennessee off the boards, they're going to be fine.
Okay, good enough. You heard it from the former UConn Husky standout. We'll be here, of course, on Sunday and back a little bit later on the show to make our fearless predictions. Joe, back to you in the studio.
All right, Eric, and we know Coach Rizzotti's feelings about the Tennessee Volunteers. If you don't know them by now, wait till you hear her prediction. I'm sure the true colors will come out then. Much more March Magic when we come back.
Incoming storm. Incoming storm! Hey, guys, there's a bad storm moving in from the northwest.
Oh, that's north-northwest.
It's moving with gale force winds at 52 miles an hour.
Correction, that's 52.3 miles an hour.
You expect it to strike around 11:30?
Actually, 11:43.
Wowie, kazowie. That radar is good.
Doppler 3000, the most powerful, accurate radar in Connecticut, only on Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Welcome back to Philadelphia. Eric Clemons and the coach for quick predictions on Sunday's championship game.
We beat them by 7-95. I'm saying again, they're going to beat them by 7. UConn over Tennessee.
UConn by 15. Joe, back to you.
All right, we're back with another March Magic Sunday at 11:30 following the national championship. Have a great night, everybody.